Hi guys, Christian here from ArchiCAD CIA. Welcome back to my channel. In my last video, we talked about layers and layer combinations. So if you haven't watched that video, I suggest you do that. Because at the end of that video, we touched on the view map and I showed you how to take a drawing that you've prepared like this and save it as views in your view map. Alright, so I suggest you watch that previous video. I'll put a link in the description below. So in this video, we're going to take it one step further and I'm going to show you how you can take these views in the view map and save it as layers in our layout book. So I'm going to talk about the layout book and I'm going to talk about master layouts, how we can prepare those two. All right, so let's go straight into it. But before we do that, I would like you to do me one simple favor. I would like you to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It will really help me a lot. And when you like this video, it will also help other people looking for videos like this to find it. And I'm sure you want that for other people too. So I'm just going to give you a few seconds to do that before we continue. All right. I'm guessing you just did that. So thank you very much. Let's dive into it. So the layout book. The layout book is where you manage and organize all the layouts in your projects, all your views in your project, all the views you choose to. All right. Look at each layout as a sheet of drawing paper where all your drawings will be shown. So you for example, you have a sheet of drawing paper for your ground floor, another sheet for first floor, and so on. So look at your layout as a place where you organize all those drawing sheets, right? Eventually going to be printed or use them for presentation purposes. All right. So that's just what the layout book is for, is to organize your drawings into different sheets. So to cut all the long story short, let me just show you what I mean. So we are in our layout book right now, and what I already have here, as you can see, is if I click on this, I have my ground floor, all right, already prepared in a layout with the title block and everything prepared. First floor too, already prepared. All right. So I'm going to walk you through how you can prepare all these layouts. So to go straight into it, let me just delete all of this so that we can start from scratch. Okay. So I'm going to delete all these layouts that we have here. Okay, so we have all our layers deleted. So let's just begin. To create a new layout, we can first start by creating a new subset. A subset is just like a folder where you prepare or where you put all your layouts. Okay, so for example, I want to have a subset for my floor plans. I want to have a subset for my sections. I want to have a subset for my elevations and the subset for the schedule. So let's start by creating a new subset and we'll name this subset plans. Okay. From all these settings, I'm going to show you what these settings are as we move forward. So let's just create this subset for plans. Let's create another subset for our sections. Okay. Now, if you notice, it looks like this subset was created under this other subset. That's why you have this arrow pointing down. But to remove it, let's just click and hold and drag it upwards. It has removed it, so let's just rearrange it downwards. Okay, so let's create another subset for our elevations, and let's create another subset for our schedule, door and window schedule, and whichever other schedule you want. Okay, schedule. Okay, So let's just have this for now. I mean, in your project, you can have a lot of other drawing details after details after details. But for the purpose of this tutorial, let's just use this. Let me just use this to explain how the layout book works. Okay. So let's go further to rearrange this. Let's click on these plans and open the settings. Oh, you know what? We're going to touch on that later. So now that we've created this, the next thing I want to show you is the master layout. Okay, the master layout is a special kind of layout. It's not like this other layout. The master layout serves as a template for other layouts. So when you create a new layout, you can choose to base it on a master layout. This means that the new layout will inherit the settings from your master layout. Okay, the elements and attributes from your master layout. Okay, look at your master layout like this. Remember in architecture school, like in architecture school, you have to create a title block for all your drawing sheets. Okay, and I can remember it was very stressful to do that. So look at your master layout as, imagine if you can just create one title block and it will magically appear in all your other sheets. That's what the master layout is. So in the master layout is just where you can create a title block for your other drawing sheets, so that any changes you make in the master layout automatically appears on the other sheets. So for example, if we have I have this my title block already created. I mean, every architecture firm has its own custom title block. So I won't really go into details on how you're going to design your title block. I'm sure you have your own title block, but there's nothing really special. The title block is just lines. So you just use lines to create your own custom title block, lines and text. Okay, but within this, there are a few tricks and tips I'm going to show you. So I suggest to stay to the end of this video, because I'm going to show you a way you can make your work really fast. Because one thing you don't want to do is spend all your time on your layout book. It can be really, really stressful if you don't know what you're doing. So I'm going to show you a way you can make your work in your layout book really fast, so that you spend more time designing than actually doing a lot of documentation. Documentation can be really stressful for most people, right? So let me also just delete this master layout, so that I can show you how to create a layout. So to create a layout, either we come here and create a master layout, or we just right click and create a master layout, and they'll ask us what name do we want to use. Let's name this tutorial layout. Okay, what paper size do we want to use? Now, I don't know the paper size you use in your own region, but in my region, we use A3. So that's what I'm going to change. I'm going to use landscape view. The margins, I'm going to leave mine as 5 mm margin. Let's just leave the anchor point to center. So that's really all we need to do to create the paper, master layouts, paper size, and all of that. So I'm going to create this, and it's going to ask me this. Just click on proceed. Okay, let's hit to window. All right, so what I'm going to do is just copy the settings from one of these my layouts, since I already have it. So I'll just go Control A, Control C to copy, and go back to my tutorial layout and Control V, and it automatically copies here. Okay, now in the master layout, there are some things that will be standard in all our drawing sheets, but there are other things that will be specific to the drawing sheet. For example, the drawing title will be different for all the sheets. The drawing scale will also be different, and the drawing number will be different. Other things like the dates will be the same for all the sheets. The architect's name, the projects, and the rest will be the same. So I'm going to show you a way, because believe me, you don't want to spend all your time naming every single drawing. Imagine you have a project where you have like 100 sheets. You don't want to spend all your time naming every single drawing, changing every scale, changing drawing number. It can be really stressful. So I'm going to show you a way to make this process a lot faster. But now that we've created our master layout, let's go back to our layout book right now. So let's go to our plans, and to create a new layout under this our subsets, we can either go under here and create new layout, or just right click on our master layout and say new layout. They'll ask us what's the name of the layout. So let's make this ground floor plan. Okay, and they'll ask us which master layout do we want to use. We want to use tutorial master layouts, and we can create. So as you can see, everything we did in our master layout has appeared in this our new layout because we referenced this layout to our master layout. Let's go back to our master layout settings. So we just right click and go to our master layout settings, and I'll show you. If you click on this set as default layouts, now every layout you create will automatically have this our tutorial layout as the master layout. So let's click OK. So we've created ground floor. Let's right click on the subset again and create another one called first floor plan. Okay, automatically it's the master layout, and let's create another one, new layout, and call it roof plan, and press enter. Okay, now that we've created these three layouts, let me touch on another thing. The numbering of these layouts will be very important because that's really what's going to speed up your work. So let me just show you how to make this numbering a lot faster for you. So let's click on these subsets and let's go to the subset settings. Okay, this is where you are going to organize your numberings. The ID style, I don't want it to be just 1, 2, 3. I want it to be 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3. So we're going to choose this as the ID style and say which number do we want to start with. We're going to start with 1. Okay, and let's just click OK. Good. And if you look at these properties, it will ask you which subset ID do we want to use. So let's just leave it as A for architectural. Okay, we can also go back to the settings, and where they say add suffix, I don't want it to just be a dot, I want it to be a dash. Okay, and when you do that, you can see that whatever we do in the settings has actually changed here. So we have our numbering from 1, 2, 3. So let's create a layout for our sections, then I'll explain to you why this numbering is so important. So let's create a new layout and call this section A. Let's create it and let's make a new layout and call it section BB. And create. So in our section, let's also make this subset ID to just be A, and let's go to the settings. And we'll change the prefix also to dash, and we'll change the numbering to the one we used in the previous. And they will ask, and you'll be asked, what number do you want to start with? Since we did 1, 2, 3, let's make this one to start from 4. Okay, and you see automatically it changes to 4 and 5. So let's do the same for elevations. Let's make this front elevation, and let's create a new, and let's say back elevation, left side elevation, and right side elevation, and create. So let's go and do the same thing we did previously. Let's make the subset ID just A, and let's change this prefix to dash, and say our elevation should start from 6. Okay, and let's also change this to the number we used before. So you see that automatically number them from 6, 7, 8, and same thing with our schedule. Let's call this door schedule and create, and let's call this window schedule and create. Let's do the same thing for it. Go to the settings, change it to a dash, change this numbering, and let's say this one starts from 10. Okay, so we have a numbering from number 1 all to the page to sheet number 11. Okay, and all of them, if you notice, all of them will have the master layouts that we drew for our tutorial layouts. Okay, so the next step is to start placing drawings in these layouts, right? So let's go straight into it. Let's go back to our ground floor. Now I'm going to show you a few ways you can place drawings in your layouts. Okay, the first way you can do it is just go back to your view map and look for the drawing you want to place. Since let's make sure it's our ground floor we have selected, let's go back to our view map and look for the ground floor we want to place. Let's just click and drag, as simple as that. Just click and drag and place it in your view map. Okay, when you do that, you'll see your drawing here. Okay, of course we can already see it looks too big for the page, right? But we can also change the scale. So let's go to our settings dialog, and we have a page to change the drawing scale. So we can make this 1:200 and say okay. Well, you can see that it looks too small. We can also change it from here. Let's just change it, use custom and change it to say 150. If that is too small, you can use 125. So let's just say 150 is okay. All right, now you can see there's quite a few things you need to adjust. For example, I don't want to see these elevation markers. Okay, so what we can do is click on the edge of this drawing and you have the chance to hide whatever you don't want to see. So let's just drag this, and we're going to hide this, and also drag it from here and we'll hide it, and we'll drag it from under here and hide, and we're going to drag this one also and hide. So let's just try and keep this somewhere in the center. But as you can see, this little gatehouse is still showing. You can also cut that out. Let's just go to our settings and subtract from polygon and do this. You can just do this and cut it out. Okay, let's bring this in a little bit. All right, now let me just make this 125 because it's looking quite small. So these are the little things you have to do when you're organizing your layouts to make it printable. Okay, I think I'm fine with this. All right, but there's something else I want to remove. You can see that we have this our drawing name here and the scale also. I don't want that because I'll obviously already have them here, so no need for them to be here. So what I can do is let me just scroll to where it says drawing title, and I'm going to just pick no title, and you can see it disappears. All right, so that's it. Let's just do this, and I'm going to create the first floor plan, then I'm going to show you how to number your sheets and make it really fast, and that's the interesting part with the layout book. So let's go to our first floor plan and go back to our Okay, so the first time I showed you how you can easily drag this and drop. So I'm going to show you a second way you can do it. So now that we have our first floor plan selected, we can just right click and say place drawing. Okay, and it's going to open this box to ask us which drawing do we want to place. So we can just choose our first floor from here and say place. Okay, and automatically it has been placed. Okay, so let's do what we did before. Let's scroll and look for the scale and custom and change it to 125. That's what we used before, right? Okay, and we're going to also hide our elevation markers like we did before. Let's just hide this one and also hide this. And we're going to cut this out like we did before. All right, and of course we're also going to remove that drawing name. Let's just leave it as no title, and let's bring it down to somewhere in the middle. All right, so this is fine. Okay, now that we've done this, let me show you something really interesting. Okay, how do we now name our drawing? So we have to add in the drawing name, we have to add the scale, and we have to add the drawing number. Okay, there are two ways to do this. We can either just take a text and directly on the layout book. Okay, directly on the layout book we can place a text here and call this ground floor plan. We'll always edit this, don't worry. So let's just highlight our text and go to the settings. I'm going to change the scale maybe to 3 mm, and let's turn off text wrap. Okay, we can do this, all right, but the problem with this is that imagine having to name, if you have like 50 to 100 sheets in your project, imagine having to name every drawing, change the scale for every drawing, change the drawing number. It will be really stressful, but I'm going to show you a better way to do this. Let's just copy this, or let's just cut it, Ctrl X. Let's cut it and let's go back to our layout book, our master layout, sorry, and let's place it here, Ctrl V. All right, remember whatever you do here appears in our layouts. So let's go back to our ground floor plan and see. We already have this here, but that's not all, because you also need to change the name for every single drawing. And remember, you can't just do it like that. So what we can do is something very interesting ArchiCAD has given us. So let's highlight this our text. Let's choose Ctrl A, and if you see this little icon here, it says insert AutoText. Now AutoText is the way you can name and number multiple drawings just with AutoText. It's very simple. So let's go to AutoText. If we click on AutoText, we have this option here, and it's telling us what do we want to use as our AutoText. So right now we want to use our layout name for the AutoText, right? So let's just click on layout name and add, because we've already named, remember, we've already named our layout. So let's just use the layout name as the automatic texting for here. Let's add, and let's just click out. And let's click outside again. So it's saying our layout name will be used to name our drawing. So if we go back to our ground floor plan, it's still showing ground floor plan. If we go to our first floor plan, you see it has been already named because we've used AutoText in our master layout. Really interesting, right? Roof plan, everything now has taken the name of our layouts. Okay, if I change this, for example, let's go to rename layout and let's just make it ground floor instead of ground floor plan. Okay, let's click OK. If we go to our ground floor, you see it changes to ground floor instead of ground floor plan, right? So that's what AutoText does. AutoText takes the attributes from our layout and references it for our project instead of having to label every single drawing sheet. It helps you through the master layout to do that with one go. Let's rename it back. Let's call this ground floor plan. So let's go back to our master layout, okay, and do the same thing for our drawing scale. So let's just pick this and bring it here. Let's go back to our settings and just turn up this opaque. And for this, let's go back to AutoText, and for our scale, what do we want to use for our scale? We don't want to use the layout, we want to use the drawing instead, the drawing scale. So we're going to use drawing scale for our layout. Okay, and let's add. Okay, and click outside. So it's saying 1:, whatever our drawing scale is. So if we go back to our ground floor, for example, we now have a drawing scale of 1:125. If we click on our drawing now and change it to say to 1:100, automatically you see our scale changes to 1:100. So if we go back and change it to 125, it changes to 125, right? So our first floor too now has a scale. Our roof plan, because we don't have a drawing yet for our roof plan, there's no scale. But once we place a drawing in this our layout for our roof plan, a scale is going to come up. Okay, so let's do the same thing for our drawing ID. Let's go back to our master layouts and do the same thing for our drawing ID. Let's just pick this text and drag it down here and double click, go back to AutoText, and let's look for our, this time let's go back to our layouts and choose layout ID. Remember, not layout number, but the layout ID, very important. So okay, and you see it has shown that the layout ID is what will be used for here. So if we go back to our ground floor and click, automatically we have A01 as our layout ID, A02 roof plan, and the rest. So every drawing now has, now instead of having to number every single drawing, it just picks the numbering from our layouts and uses it in our numbering. Very easy. That's the easiest way to do this. Believe me, for years I didn't even know this existed in ArchiCAD, and when I found this out, I felt really upset. I'm like, for how many years I've been stressing myself numbering every sheet. So this is a very interesting way of making your work really fast. So let's go to our roof plan and I'll show you a third method. So the first time I showed you how you can drag your roof plan and place. I also showed you how you can right click and place drawings. The third way you can do it is to actually open the roof plan we have here. Just right click and say save view and place on layout, or we can just do Alt F7 and automatically we can do this, place it on the layout. Okay, so let's just arrange this. Let's change the scale to 1:5 and let's remove the drawing title because we already have a title for it. New title, and let's cut out all the parts we don't want to see like we did before. Okay, so as you can see, automatically a scale has appeared for it. All right, so in summary, that is how you take your drawings. So even if you want to do for, say, your elevations, for example, So let me just open an elevation and also do that. Let's go to our view map. Let's look for elevations, and in our front elevation, I'll just look for the front elevation here and drag and drop. And our elevation are shown. All I need to do also is just to remove the drawing title, make it no title. Alright, and the scale has changed. If I make this say 1:200, you see it changes to 200. So let's just do Ctrl Z and bring it back to 1:100. So that is how you arrange layouts in your layout book. And that's how you prepare your master layout, and that's how you number them. It's quite easy. If you do it this way I showed you, you are going to save yourself a lot of time. You don't have to go through the stress of numbering every single drawing, changing every single scale, and titling your drawing. Is going to just save you a lot of stress. So that's it, guys. As simple as that. In our next video, okay, we're going to take this one step further, and I'm going to show you how you can take these layouts and prepare them in our publisher sets for printing or for sending out in any format you want, either as DWG or as PDF files. Okay, alright guys, so that's it for this video. Once again, if you found this video helpful, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell notification so that whenever I post any videos, you will be notified. Alright guys, that's it. See you in the next one.